This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you for joining me in our 12th video in this series. And the title of this video is Always Respect Risk. Now, before we get into the presentation itself, if I can please get you to have a quick read of this risk disclaimer, give you a few seconds, and then we'll continue. Okay, thanks very much for that. Now, this video can arguably be regarded as the most important video in the series. And the reason for that is that risk is always present when you are trading, but reward is not. Now, what do I mean by that? Every time you take on a position, there is a real possibility that that trade can turn into a loss. However, if a trader goes ahead and blows his or her account, then there is no way you can trade. So the aspect of reward is gone. We must also realize that the mathematics of losses can be catastrophic, and we'll deal with that in our next slide. Therefore, one always should use a stop loss and risk at the most 2% of the trading capital per trade. Now, take a look at this slide, which shows the mathematics of loss. If you lose 10%, the table indicates that you will need 11.1% just to break even. Consider it this way. Somebody with $100 makes a 10% loss, is sitting with $90. And if they make a 10% gain on the remaining $90, they're only at $99. So a 10% gain does not offset a 10% loss. And the more one loses, the harder it is to break even. Therefore, I reiterate that one always has to respect risk. Now, one of the strategies that is advocated to protect oneself is the 2% rule. It's a money management strategy that says don't risk more than 2% of one's trading capital per trade. And to do this effectively, one has to have a stop loss order. Once you have that stop loss order, once you have the stop loss level, it all becomes formula driven. So assuming that one has a stop loss of, let's say, 50 pips and a trading account of $10,000, then the formula says that we take the $10,000 times it by the risk that we prepared to lose. And remember, at the very most, it's 2%. So in this example, $10,000 times 2% equals $200. Then we divide it by our pips to the stop loss, which is 50 pips away from our entry. And that gives us the answer of 4. In other words, we are allowed to trade 4 mini lots for a $10,000 account where we're willing to risk 2% of our trading capital and where our stop loss is 50 pips away. Thank you very much for joining me for this video. This is the last video in our series. I hope that you found it useful.